feeling like I'm Akademiks. Can't ride no wave.
Okay, cool. All right, let's get on some federal shit. So we're back on the LA Fed sweep, and essentially, you know, this shit's still happening. People are anticipating what's going to be called a superseding indictment that's going to appear shortly. That's going to detail maybe even more crimes or more significant charges for the likes of Brick Baby, Loose Cannon, and of course the guy who they place at the top, Big U. Again, I've said this. I hope, you know, in the interest of me, and people usually accuse me of not doing this, but I don't want black men to be like literally signing themselves up for jail with their own stupidity. I hope LA podcasting changes. I get it. Y'all are all gang affiliated for the most part, and y'all love being on there talking about DPs and all type of fuckery and all type of politics and what words offend y'all. But please keep that shit in the streets, okay? The kids that are watching you and the people that are watching you are entertained by your foolery and coonery, but they're even more amused by your indictment. And the reality of it is, you know, if you got a job, whether you get employed by No Jumper or whoever else, that little 100,000, actually, he's not paying y'all 100,000. You're gonna have to pay 150,000 for a RICO. That's a going price for a RICO these days with a good lawyer or a decent lawyer. So again, what are you doing it for? So I hope LA podcasting realizes that, listen, this gang culture, y'all have now became the sacrificial lamb of what people thought Chicago was. And I'm not saying this with trying to be on a soapbox, but all right. Now, I seen another thing too, and I'll react to this chat, nigga. Okay. So I seen it looks like Wack got into it real quick with Trap Lord Ross. Let me see. Yeah, I don't know why they got into it like this. Here we go.
We're warning him. I'm gonna be.
So, if you guys haven't watched this interview, we did a 4-hour interview. Me, Adam, Wack, Vlad, Remo, Trap Lord Ross. By the way, really good episode. I really like it. You know, for me, I was very happy. You see, I like to repay favors and this and shit like that. Y'all should know, I'm a loyal motherfucker. Adam did my show. He came to New York, New Jersey, and probably did, you know, my shit like probably like 2 to 3 times. I haven't done this shit like since like literally like I feel like 2019. You know what I mean? And for me, I was glad that I got the opportunity to do it again. And I think we did an amazing episode. I hope that episode does 5 million views. So, you know, I'm happy for Adam in terms of that because, you know, he's done his part in helping me and done interviews on my platform. So I was happy for it. So it was a really good episode. Anyway, one of the part of the episode that I do want to touch into is Wack gets heated with Trap Lord Ross, so No Jumper, after he calls out Wack for fabricating the feds finding on the Big U DNA drama. Let me let this back and forth play out, but I'm also kind of give some back and forth. I'm gonna give some you know, insight as well. Here we go.
600 hates him, so he's having his fun, but we're warning him. I'm gonna be real. If somebody took my DNA a year or so ago, after a year, 18 months, I'm thinking ain't nothing of it. I'm not even thinking that my skin's under about a dude's nails. And I hear the family say they found his DNA under the nails. I hear that. That's going to be alarming to me.
That did turn out to not be completely true, though, right?
No, it was completely
From
true.
the complaint, it said that the DNA that was found, it couldn't confirm that it was Big U, but it couldn't rule it out too, whereas they could rule out the other individual, right?
No. I don't know where you saw that at.
I really saw it. It said that. It wasn't completely confirmed that it's Big U's DNA. That's what I'm seeing, and there's still no...
There's no... Listen.
They said it was inconclusive or something like that, right?
So, do you want me to read it out?
Go ahead.
Read out.
Okay, so... Wait, the DNA profile... so, DNA was connected from RW's ankle/sock area, consistent with the direction that RW was dragged into the desert off the highway.
Oh.
The DNA profile obtained was not complete, likely due to the aforementioned inclinement on whether the Due to the inclement weather on the night of the murder. So the weather and the way that the body was left overnight, I guess in the cold, in the wind or whatever, meant that the DNA profile wasn't able to be completed. So it says analysis of Henley's DNA profile, Big U, was inconclusive such that he could not be excluded as the contributor of the DNA, but it couldn't be confirmed. And Robinson, on the other hand, was excluded as a potential contributor of the DNA. So it wasn't confirmed, but it couldn't be excluded.
You know who Robinson is?
Robinson.
That's the driver. Mm-hmm. That's the driver who told them they drove to L.A., picked the kid up, where they took him, and how he was killed. So when you got something that says you're not excluded, well, it could have been you, maybe not. But then you got the dude with you who gave DNA once they brought him in. Big U didn't know it. And they show, you didn't touch the body. That means he's identified Big U as a killer. That's who really told on him.
But all I'm saying is that, from what I understand, the DNA thing, to make the statement Big U's DNA was found under his fingernail.
That's been running in the media a lot.
That's not been conclusively proven as true.
These mics are kind of sensitive.
Now, let me kind of add to it. And this is where, let me tell you this. Wack is in a really let me tell you, Wack is a smart guy, bro. I am telling y'all. Wack is so smart that I think the average person at this point is going to say either Wack is smarter than every gang member or Wack is literally the feds. Wack is smart, okay? Wack ain't the feds. But we're used to dumb street niggas that with how far ahead Wack is, and I'm not glazing, it's just real, that it seems like, it's like federal shit. Like, you know when anybody could read? Like, I could pull up some shit on a state court website and I read it here. They say, ask the feds. You know why? I could click a few buttons, buy a fucking indictment or complaint and read it on stream. I'm the feds. You get what I'm saying? Like in the black community, any type of intellectual ability that extends beyond colloquial, on the dead homies, son, nigga, nah, fuck 12. Anything beyond that, it's like, they call it police activity. You get what I'm saying? Wack has a really uncanny ability of being able to play in both worlds. Because he is smart. And I think he uses like these people like his clubhouse room. Anyway, here's the thing. It's funny how they're having like this mismatch of disagreements, because it's not really, Wack didn't say nothing wrong and they didn't say nothing wrong. Wack got fed the information from the family. The family, like the police are probably, the police are not telling the family everything. They were just like, yo, we got him on the DNA. That's what the police probably told the family. It doesn't mean that it was conclusive. What they meant was that we ruled out everybody else but Big U. So he's in play. They're not going to tell you all that. Wack spoke to the family, who's getting info from the detectives. So Wack, who don't like Big U, gets online and says, Big U's DNA's found. Now, granted, technically that's incorrect, but he's getting fed that from the family. They're reading the indictment now, right? Or Traplo Ross is reading the indictment, and he realizes that it actually says it's inconclusive for Big U, but it rules out other people, which is actually the accurate portion, which basically says, it's like the Tory thing. Remember they got on me about the Tory thing? They're like, yo, you said Tory DNA was not found on the gun, but it was inconclusive. It's like colloquials. It's like, if you want to believe whatever, you can believe whatever. Anyway, so I don't think they're saying anything different. I think Traplo Ross is trying to keep it black and white. I think Wack is trying to say, all right, nigga, it's the same damn thing.
You might want to pull it in a little more.
Right?
Yeah, no, that's what.
Well, you got to remember, we didn't make.
They've been saying that as a headline since Wack started talking about it.
You got to remember, we didn't make the statement. We just played the recording.
But this is the thing. Do you feel like it's kind of overcooking Big U's involvement? Now, obviously, it's an open case. It's unresolved, right? But the headline of DNA found under fingernails is not. It's a little overshooting.
What's the difference in what you did?
Because this says it can't confirm it.
Listen, I'm allowing you to question me right
now. Here's the thing, too, about Traplo Ross's understanding. whether they could confirm it's Big U's DNA, he's the only one that is not ruled out, which means, yeah, they can't confirm it's fully him, but they could confirm it's not the other niggas, which it continues to build a case that he's a suspect.
Now, right?
I appreciate it.
Because you did some punk shit the other day. See, the only difference is you usually do what you did the other day sitting over there in London somewhere, right? And you're not here, right? It's a lot of places you can't go. You send Adam something as if it was a clip of something I did I wasn't supposed to do.
No, he sent me a
gotta clear this
screenshot
up
of
a
a
little bit.
page from the indictment.
that's cool.
Where Big
You
U
the
was
receiver.
recorded on a
You the
wiretap, basically
receiver.
saying that he punked you
Hold
out
on.
with a whole bunch of people, and
Hold
it
on.
had
No,
a
he was a
quote
receiver.
that he attributed to you,
Okay,
but it
well, hold
wasn't
on.
an actual video
Hold on.
or recording.
Hold on,
This
hold
was
on.
Big U's version
Hold
of
on,
events.
hold on. You're the receiver. So
Pause.
since you read everything, right? Now tread lightly with this. Because I've been telling myself for the last couple minutes not to really do nothing to you because I know what you was trying to do.
Okay.
So since you so thorough, did you read what Big U said he did to me? No, either you gonna play smart or dumb. Did you read it?
Yes. Can I say one
What
thing?
did you
Can I say one
find
thing
in
in my
there
defense first?
That's the bullshit and the real shit.
But can I say one thing in my defense
I
first?
just want to know what you read.
I feel like stuff that Adam said that he put source on top of. I just sent him an image of the indictment and said, "Have you seen this?" You
No,
went,
you
in,
said
no,
in
but
that
you went in the
page.
room and you said a bunch of stuff.
No,
that
you said
was
in
a
that
little bit
page.
added on.
You said in that page. So I'm
It's in that
asking
page.
you, just gonna let me know where you at with me.
Mm-hmm.
Did you read that and did you use your brain
Mm-hmm.
to understand why and why?
And let me pause this real quick. I want to give you a story about Wack. Okay? And I hope when Wack sees this, which I think he will, I hope he appreciates it. You know why Wack is sitting on that podcast right now and not probably in jail? Because let's analyze it. And this is a quick story. And y'all can all clip this, but this is real. And if you're wondering how the Wack and Akademiks relationship started, this is how it started. And I think it's the epitome of why Wack is sitting on a podcast, one of the most powerful and loudest voices on media. All his ops, they go to jail or they just go away or he fucking gets them into irrelevancy and he's always thriving. You know, I always thought Wack was what they're accusing Big U of. I thought Wack was the extortion guy. I thought Wack was the guy who was like, hey, yo, blood, you got to give me this to make sure you good. I thought that was Wack. One of the first times I talked to Wack was after the BT incident when me and Joe Budden went down there we went to LA. And there was a situation with QC. The Migos, everybody knows it. It was a surreal thing. We dropped the video. Everybody's like responding. People felt like Joe is just a guy who needs to be, and there was a conversation happening really loudly in the industry that he needs to be touched. He's disrespecting niggas. He's violating people. And shit, I was also very, I've been talking my shit too, but Joe on the show was going dummy and going crazy. In the morning after that, we get on a flight. And I remember us walking to that airport that morning and everybody's looking at us. I'm with Joe and his girlfriend at the time, since Santana. And we get on a flight from LA and we go back to Jersey. We're both from Jersey. By the time we land in Jersey and I'm at baggage claim, picking up my bag, I see a call coming through. And I see a message. It says it's Wack100. And the first thing I'm saying, I'm so happy I'm in New Jersey. Because if I was in LA still, we don't know. By the way, here's the thing too. I'll give you the whole conversation. First thing Joe Wack says to me, he says, yo, bro. He essentially says, let me not give the full play-by-play, but he just says, yo, you want to stay out of that shit, what Joe got going on, because Joe gonna get himself hurt. Okay? And it's Wack100 and all the Wack100 flair. And I was just saying, hey, listen, Joe's my man. We do music content, but I don't want no problems with whoever else. And he's just saying, listen, a lot of these things get to that point. I looked at Wack at that point and I said, all right, this is the extortion guy. I've been thinking that. After that, that situation resolved itself however it did. I spoke to Wack again. And I've always, remember, I'm thinking in my head, Wack is the extortion guy. I'm like, at some point, he's going to say, hey, yo, blood, yo, I'm going to need 10 grand if you want to come back to LA. What I realize is exactly why nobody who's a gang member should beef with Wack, especially on a podcast. Wack, who was in a very interesting space at that point, sat back and analyzed the landscape and realized something very important. Hey, and by the way, this is where, you see a low-level IQ nigga like Meek Mill, this is where like a stupid nigga like him goes. Wack said, I don't want to come off as the intimidating guy to Akademiks. Akademiks could help me. I want him to be my ally. I saw Wack do that with all the media personalities. He became cool with me. I seen him and Adam get cool. And him and Vlad wasn't seen eye to eye. I seen them became cool. What I realized over time is that Wack was breaking this myth of extorting people. And he was saying, let me show y'all my value and let me work with y'all. You break the matrix. You know how hip hop has been. You have the Suge Knights who are like, just like dangling people off the balcony. And you think of these street dudes like, yo, they're just going to show up and slap you. And then you realize that you get a smart motherfucker who says, yo, Ak, yo, I'm going to do like, yo, whatever you need, I'm going to do you 5 favors, but maybe one day you can do me 1. That's Wack. A smart guy. And that's why, even on the podcast, I said, I just don't even know why niggas beef with him. But not only that, I think when he's having these conversations with gang members around, he knows how to talk a nigga into an indictment, a jail cell, or talk a nigga into an ass whipping. I sat with Snoopy Badass who said, I didn't realize that Wack100 was talking me into getting DP'd or having to go catch 4 fades or whatever. I watched the Loose Cannon thing. We'll play it shortly. He basically sat there and watched the nigga basically talk himself into a jail cell. Wack is not your average gangster. Okay? Anyway.
I not. So I'm a dude that involved.
And by the way, I don't know about Wack in the past. Maybe you used to extort niggas. But I think he realized when that shit was not going to fly no more. And Wack became allies and business partners with niggas. And that's one of the reasons he free. Big U still was on some shit like check in, blood, check. No, not blood, I guess. Check in, cuh. Check in, cuh. Check in. Check. Okay, well, you're checking in to the goddamn federal penitentiary system. That's really what it is.
Violated Big U like no other human being, right? Violated him.
For sure.
2-3 years, right?
That's such a claim to fame now that Big U is like the ultimate bad guy of LA.
No.
Him being able to say that he violated is like him saying he went up against Al Capone.
No.
To tell the tale.
No, you got to remember, I don't see Big U the way y'all see Big U.
I know.
Big U done sat on my couch with his head down, scared straight in situations where he needed our help at. I don't see him that way. A motherfucker who I had to pay rent and help.
My nigga Vlad putting the listening device right in the middle. Yeah, my boy.
Take care of his family, who then sat on my couch and said, help me. I don't see that dude as that, right? But if you read that, right, it says we was 15, 20 deep, right?
Now, okay, so a big part of contention here is Big U in the indictment was caught in a wiretap detailing the story of how they caught Wack lacking. They caught him lacking at this show. They claim they ran down on him. They say they outnumbered him like 15-0. And they had weapons on him. And basically Wack was pleading for his life. And Wack was like, yo, Big U, Eugene Henley, yo, bro, I got my family. Please don't do this to me. Now, of course, that's a story told by Big U to someone else, someone called Victim One, who clearly that's somebody who's telling later. But that's what's alleged. Now, of course, everybody's going to tell a story that kind of behooves them or make them look good. Whether it's true or not is up to you. Now, Wack has told a different story. We've heard it a bunch of times. Wack then takes issue with Trapalore Ross for sending that story, or Big U's version of the story, to Adam, where Wack thinks that Trapalore Ross was trying to get Adam to believe Big U and almost kind of be like, yo, you see, Wack be lying up here. That nigga really was pressed by the 60s and Big U, and he came online saying a different story. So Wack is confronting him. Here we go.
A 38, does that do it? Nah.
Here we go.
I don't want you that close because I'm going to make them scatter. I got some shit that's going to make freedom ring. That's a fact. Think about it. What make 20 gang members stop in their track? A 38, does that do it? Nah. Gotta have some shit, right? Let's just be real.
You pull a drink on them niggas?
Let's just be real.
This just says blow up.
No, I'm asking you. What make 20 dudes stop in their tracks? And you know they had some shit. It takes something. Listen, it's a fat, ugly broad walk through here. We wouldn't trip. We'd keep talking. If a bad walk through here, we gonna stop and look, right? So it gotta be a showstopper, right? So now I just exposed to you that the bozo said what? He was by himself. I never was by myself.
But this him on a wiretap bragging to somebody else, possibly.
Right, he got it
in
with
our
our
story,
voice,
right?
yeah.
But you sent it like
Adam
it
put the
was
source
real.
on this originally and said begging. I never said begging.
But you sent it like it was real.
I was just reading what you sent me.
That's the part he's mad about, the begging. I never
No,
said that.
what I'm saying though, the part I'm mad about is you act like we cool. You just send it to me and say, Wack, what's up with this? You did the bitch ass shit you do, but they just can't catch you. So I'm here to let you know as a man, you's a bitch ass nigga for that.
No, he's not. Because
No,
all
you
he was
definitely
doing
that.
was
You
showing
definitely
me
that because
a page
we
from
got a
the
relationship,
biggest
right?
news of the
So why you
day
didn't tap in
that
with me?
my podcast
You're
co-host
in the
just so
headlines.
happens to be
This is
named
not
in.
public. This is not
If
public.
I get something on you,
Yeah.
who the first person I'm sending it to?
Of course, you're going to hit me about it. But wait.
But
So-
this
so-
was the
You
Wack
sent it to me
He
too.
tried to send it to bro as if it was exposing me to something.
yeah,
Nah, this
well,
is like
that's
you
what
got
you
a show
think.
together, and,
And I'm gonna be real.
But what did I send you before that? I sent you in there too. No jumper. First thing I sent you was no
I mean,
jumper
you're
in
reading
there,
through it. You're
and then I
sending
sent you
me
another thing
a couple of different things that
Bro,
seemed
it's
of note.
107 pages, bozo.
And he sent me
you
two.
chose to send him that.
But you were on the phone live busy, so I knew you were on the
No,
phone.
no, that's
you
some
were
bullshit.
live. I was watching live, and I
He-
sent it to
that's
him.
You were
some bullshit.
called into the news
That's
at that
back
moment.
into the room.
Listen, it's 107 pages, right?
True.
And out of 107 pages, and there's some crazy stuff in that content. You chose to send him that, so you thought you was isolating Wack on some bullshit. That's what you thought.
That wasn't
Keep
my
it real.
intention. That
I
wasn't my
want the
intention.
boy in you to tell the truth.
No, that wasn't my intention at all.
So what was your intention?
Real talk. I was reading through it. I see that
You
section.
see how it
That
feels
was
to
the
really.
craziest
You
thing.
see how it feels to really be in front of the people you talking about and playing with.
No, I hear it. It's
It
tough.
feel your. I hear
He
your
does that
heart.
all the time.
No, he don't. No, he don't.
Oh, yeah, he does.
Man, that dude get caught in certain places. He know it. He in certain places. While you get up and go to Chicago, do the back door shit.
Okay. Anyway. All right. Okay. So that's continuing. I'm gonna send my prayers for Loose Cannon and Brick Baby. Don't know. I really don't know about what's the name too much, Big U, but I'll send my prayers for the ones I do know. Okay. So